It's a modest front garden with enough land to plant. At times, earthworms crawl from the ground, suggesting enough organic matter in a healthy soil system. But for a long time, the garden was left unattended. Only a few mature plants remained, turning it into an abandoned space with accidental plants. One weekend morning, days after expressing my interest to tend the garden, my father handed me a bolo. On it, dust and rust had settled, and it weighed more than the knives often held. Limited to Santo knife, chef's knife, utility knife, and pocket knife. They were only used in the kitchen or the occasional repairs or opening up some parcels. It's been years since I carried a bolo. My father told me to take out an old plant so we could allow space for new ones. The mid-sized plant on a tarnished plastic pot looked like an unfinished handcrafted Christmas tree sold on side streets. It was bare as bones, no leaves, no sign of life, only a memory of it displayed by extended branches and stems. In an awkward misplace, the plant was tightly lodged in the middle of other plants, overcrowding the limited space. When I tried to lift the pot, it remained fixed. After another forceful attempt, it was I who got pulled in. An equal reaction for an action. Holding the pot tight on both sides, I twisted it. The sides where added pressure broke, but the plant remained immovable. I slid the bolo underneath and used it as a lever. It raised a little. I bent down and discovered that the stems had cracked the bottom of the pot and sprawled underneath the ground. To expose the stem and see how far they've grown, I dug out the soil. The stems were thicker than the branches. I grabbed the bolo, lifted it high, and with certainty started hacking. But since the rusted bolo lacked sharpness, I compensated by adding more force to the blows. Grunts began to sound, hands sweat, hit without hesitation, beat until the stems break. Then it snapped. Although having difficulty seeing, for sweat was already stinging my eyes, I noticed with sweet delight the green layer inside the stem. Hidden in its meek locus, I knew that it was a gracious sign of life in a seemingly dead plant. Greens are found in chlorophyll, an essential part of nourishment for living plants. And the cambium cell layer, the one found, provides cells for development. With the possibility of change and growth, hacking more stems to remove the plant from its position became difficult. It's as though the bolo had tripled its weight. Or it was my hand that got numb. We've done this many times. When we feel like things are not working, when things are dry and dead, we uproot them and throw them away. Signs are clear anyway. Clinging to dead things are burdensome, even painful, and we begin to believe that there's no point in trying. But life has its way of adding thrill. When we finally convince ourselves that we're ready to let go, we find that some things could be saved, that they have to be saved. I took out the weeds surrounding the plant, carefully pruned overgrown branches and stems, and added a generous amount of loam soil to the pot. It was transferred beside other shrub plants where it not only looked fit, but where it, without having to experience another vicious uprooting, could grow well. I finished by filling it with water, a thing it never had all summer. Now the space the uprooted plant used to take is planted with calamansi, eggplant, and tomato. And from being dry and dead, the plant has turned green with leaves and stems sprouted. It stands tall, bearing little white flowers. It blossomed to what it's supposed to be, a jasmine plant.